I already know what you're thinking just by reading the title of this episode. Are we really talking about Christmas the week before Thanksgiving? Yes, we are. And I'm going to tell you why. If you want to have a relaxed, stress-free Christmas season, you need to do a little planning and a little prep beforehand. So today I'm going to be sharing 4 different things every mom should do right now before Thanksgiving if you're in the States, or right now before, Christmas takes over your whole life, to make Christmas a lot more stress-free, to have it all figured out, and just to make your life a lot easier. And as you will see by the time I get through all 4 of these tips, this is actually going to help you have a more stress-free Christmas in 2021 as well, because why not be prepared as soon as possible? Glue. It's messy, it's sticky, it gets everywhere, but it's also really useful. Just like the glue that we need to put together the pieces of our life as busy working moms. We have after-school activities, we have homework, we have cleaning, we have laundry, and, we want to spend time with our kids as well in the process, and maybe even have some time for ourselves. This podcast is for the busy moms out there who are balancing work, life, and everything in between, and we all know that in between encompasses a lot of things. If you're a mom who wants to do the best in all areas of life, but still have time for yourself, this podcast is for you. I love to interview other moms and find out what works for them, get ideas from them, get inspired by them, and learn, we're all in this together. But I also like to share my own tips, tricks, struggles, triumphs, and share it all with you. So grab a load of laundry, lock yourself in the bathroom, go for a walk, do whatever you got to do, but I am just so glad you're here. Hey glue sticks, happy Thanksgiving to those of you who are in the United States and celebrating Thanksgiving next week. I know it's kind of unorthodox to talk about Christmas the week before Thanksgiving, but we all know it's coming, and the best thing we can do is prepare early, or at the last minute, depending on how you look at it, but prepare nonetheless for the upcoming holiday that is Christmas, that kind of overtakes all of December and can get really, really stressful if we let it. So I wanted to share a lot of my tips, tricks, strategies when it comes to Christmas to make not only this year less stressful for you, but also next year if you listen through to the end. I apologize in advance if you hear little grunts and coos. My baby Gwenny decided she didn't want to nap today on her own. She wanted to lay on me, so I'm wearing her, which is pretty much the common thing. She'll nap great unless I'm recording podcast episodes. So just being a working mom, doing what I got to do. And I know all of you listening, or most of you, are moms, so you totally get it. So anyway, so Thanksgiving's coming up next week, but I think these are 4 different things you could do this next week before Thanksgiving to make this the most stress-free Christmas season of your life. And maybe with the pandemic, it already will be because there's not a lot of places to go, not a lot of things to do. But this will also help enrich your Christmas season, letting you focus on the things that really matter, like your family, your friends, your loved ones. And the whole meaning of Christmas, if you are a Christian, is Christ, being born and coming into the world to live among us. So let's do these things now so that we can focus on the real reason of the season. So the very first thing, of course, if you celebrate Christmas, most of you, I'm sure, give gifts to your children. Now, everybody has their own philosophy on how many gifts and how much to spend and all of that kind of stuff. I'm not going to preach on that because, you do you, and be proud and own whatever it is you choose to do for your family. I think everybody can be different, and that's beautiful. But I'm going to share what I do. So I will talk about Amazon lists later on in this episode, but they are key when it comes to any kind of shopping for our children, for any holiday, birthday, you name it. Amazon lists are my jam. But I'm going to just talk about what we do as far as gift giving. Now, every year I kind of do something a little bit different. This year I kind of went off the rails with Etsy shopping, which I think is amazing, but I'm going to kind of break down what we do. It's kind of like a modified, the 4 gifts, something you want, something you need, something to wear, something to read. I kind of do a modified version of that. So I'm just going to kind of walk you guys through what we do. Maybe it'll spark some ideas. But the very first thing we do is make sure our girls know that, make sure your children aren't listening to this episode, first of all, but is to let them know that they can only ask Santa for one gift. He only brings them one gift at our house. He may do things differently at other people's house, but we have told him we only want our children to receive one gift from Santa because we have enough money and time and resources to get them other gifts. So they pick out one thing. Our 3-year-old asks for an Ariel costume, and our 5-year-old wants a makeup set. So yeah, we're already getting into that phase. But they know that Santa's only bringing them one thing. And so we set that expectation. And so we are doing the modified version of the 4 gifts. So what we are doing is something you want, something you need, something to do, something to read, something to wear, something to watch, something to share. And there may be more than one of each, but this is kind of what I do to guide me when it comes to Christmas shopping. So for something they want, that is their Santa gift. So like I said, that's what they want from Santa. Usually he pulls through for them. Let's just say that. For something you need, this is always hard for me because let's face it, in today's modern day, if you're listening to this podcast, that means you have some kind of device that can download podcasts. So chances are your kids don't actually need anything unless maybe you save, something they need to buy at Christmas time, which I think is a great idea. For our girls, I rack my brain trying to think of something, but they have a luggage set that they each got from my parents for Christmas, over the years. And what they don't have is like a little toiletry bag to put their toothbrushes and toothpaste and hair supplies and stuff like that. So we are getting each of them a little toiletry bag, including our baby. We're just doing one for each girl. They're like $12 on Amazon. So that's something for something you need. Some other things you could do are, maybe a watch, or if they need a new phone, depending on their age, if they need a calculator for school, if they need a new backpack, if they need some kind like a luggage bag, an organizer of some sort for their room, something like that could be a really good thing for something you need. Something else we're giving them that is going under the share category, but would fall under something you need is we have so many dress up clothes, and our 3-year-old loves dressing up, but they're just in bins and it's kind of overtaking our living room every day when she goes to look for one. So I'm really inexpensively making a dress up clothes organizer out of a 3x3 cube unit. So I'm just going to kind of hack that, and I will have hopefully a video up on our YouTube channel showing everything that I'm giving them if I haven't done that already by the time this goes live. But that's also like an example of something you could do for something you need. Some kind of organizer, storage, redo their closet. Maybe they need a new comforter. Maybe they are getting a new bed because they're growing or something like that. Could be something you need. For something to do, this is my favorite. There are so many different things you could do for something to do. Puzzles, games, science kits. What I've really been loving lately are on Etsy, or you can even find, little small businesses with websites, are like the Play-Doh kits and the sensory bin kits that, moms mainly have been making and selling. And I love that I get to support other families through this because it's not like a big box store. It's actual small businesses that are selling these. So they are filled with all kinds of things. I'm actually buying each girl 2, plus I bought one more just because I love them so much. And the whole idea is I will just pull one out from time to time. They are reusable, which is great. So I will link to any of these things in the show notes for you guys as well, so you can find them. But basically, they're just little plastic boxes with dividers that have different things for a theme. So they might have a construction theme with like rocks and couple little toy dump trucks and, excavators and stuff like that. And there might be like a caution sign and just little things you can either use with Play-Doh, or you can put with, rice or beans for a sensory bin, or a bunch of rocks. And it just really, my kids love sensory bins and Play-Doh. And so it's just a really great thing to have to just pull out and, add to their play. Other things for something to do, you could do like a look and find bag that they make, or a pillow, or a look and find jar, calming jars and bottles and stuff like that. You could do anything related to my 2 episodes ago where I talked about 25 different things to do with your kids. If you haven't listened to that one, go back and listen to that because that has tons of ideas for something to do. But just basically it could be a toy, it could be some kind of activity kit, craft supplies for something to do. For something to read, obviously, books. But what I actually did, and I would highly recommend you guys do, is either attend or host an Usborne party. Not sponsored in any way, but I hosted one online a few weeks before Halloween, and I got tons and tons of free books. I got like $450 worth of books for $150 with all the free books and the half price books. And that includes tax and shipping. And shipping was like $30 because it was a lot of books. And that is going to be like a big present for our girls. I don't know if I'll give them all to them for Christmas, but I got so many books. I will post a photo in the show notes because it's amazing how many books I got. So that's a great idea to add to your collection because Usborne has amazing quality books. You could also do like a chapter book set if your kid has a chapter series that they really like, anthologies of books, audio books on CD. I still think are really nice for in the car, stuff like that for something to read. Something to wear. I know for my kids, they have plenty of clothes, so I don't want to buy them more clothes, but maybe your child has like a character they really like and they want an outfit that goes with that or something like that, or they have been wanting this dress they saw at the mall or at Target, and then you could definitely go ahead with that. But some other ideas are a watch, maybe different accessories like for their hair or rings or bracelets, necklaces, earrings, that kind of stuff. Maybe a costume, that could be something to wear. Nail polish, fake tattoos could all be something to wear. And then what we're actually doing is, because our bigger girls both got our generation dolls from Target. So I am getting them a doll for their dress and a doll for them that matches. I just thought that would be really cute and sweet and a way to give them something to wear that's just not like another dress that they'll never wear. I think they'll really love dressing up with their dolls. For something to watch, we like to add a movie to our collection, but you could definitely do like an informational DVD or some kind of like documentary series or educational series for something to watch. For something to share, actually, most of our gifts that we're giving this year are something to share. I mean, we've got 3 girls under the age of 6. Pretty much all their toys they share, and I have just been loving and obsessed with wooden like Montessori and Waldorf style toys on Etsy. So I kind of went a little crazy with that, and I'm going to be making some felt play mats for them, which is really cool. And I think, having something that their mom made will be really special. But we're also getting them like a little table that they can keep in the dining room to use the play mats on, and little peg people and some accessories to go along with that. I'm also getting them a doll bunk bed for our generation dolls because they love to lay them down for bed. But it's like a double bunk bed. It's a bunk bed with a trundle bed, so it can fit 3 different dolls, which will be great when our baby gets older and has her own our generation doll. And I think they're going to just absolutely love that, as well as the dress-up clothes storage. Some other ideas for something to share. This is where you can do like the bigger gifts, like a trampoline, a bounce house, one of those nugget couches for kids that can like be conformed in different ways, and they can make forts and stuff out of it, or they can jump on it and play, and kind of the sky's the limit. Maybe a fort building set, a new playhouse, a climber, any of those bigger ticket items could be something to share, or maybe like a trip somewhere or something like that, or a set, like a subscription box set could be something to share. And then, those are our main things we do for gifts. We also do stockings, but we try to really not have a lot of junk in them. I try to, have quality over quantity. And then we also try to do a family gift the night before with new pajamas and a new Christmas movie for Christmas Eve. So that's what we do for gifts, but these are just some ideas. If you haven't, been really thinking about Christmas yet and figuring out your gifts, maybe you do that, after Thanksgiving. That's totally fine, but it's just nice to kind of have that in mind. I've actually already finished shopping for my kids, and I'm recording this episode in October, so it feels really good to be done. And now, like, I've used up all our budget for them. I can't go out and buy something new. So it kind of just helps me because I love shopping for my kids, and I'll see something new and be like, oh, how am I going to fit that in the budget? And now it's like, I'm not, because I'm done. So it'll have to go on their birthday list or whatever. So that was the first thing you should be doing before Thanksgiving to prepare for Christmas, is just kind of thinking over what you're going to get your children. The second thing you should be doing, everybody should do this before the Christmas season begins, is to declutter your home. Maybe not your entire home, but definitely the areas that have to do with your kids. So the key areas I would suggest you declutter are your toys, if they're in their rooms, the living rooms, if you have a playroom. We keep a lot of activity-based stuff in our dining room, so I go through that beforehand. Wherever you keep books, get rid of any kids' books that they've outgrown or they just don't care anymore or are tattered or worn. Games, look through those, any activities, look through their clothes and make sure, you're not adding a bunch of clothes and they already have a ton. And then anything else, where you might be buying a gift, make sure you have room for it. You want to have room for whatever gift you buy. So if you are going to get them something big, make sure you have the space to store it or to set it up or whatever it is before the holiday comes, because I know the feeling, and I'm sure a lot of you guys experience this. After all the gifts are open, you're just like, oh my gosh, there's so much new junk added to our house. Like, what am I going to do with all of this? So it's nice to have thought about that ahead of time. And of course, when family gives gifts, we don't always know where they're all going to go. So just kind of have in mind, where you could put extra toys or even ask family members what they're getting if you're okay and they're okay with that, so you can plan where it's actually going to go. Have you been feeling overwhelmed? Like you have not enough time in your day to get everything done? Like you need help figuring out how to cram all the pieces of your life into one cohesive puzzle? Trust me, I've been there, but I am here to help. I get asked all the time, daily, how I quote unquote do it all. And while doing it all is a myth, because we all just have 24 hours in a day and we all have to say no to things, I do believe in routines, habits, systems, structures that will make our days run better. And I feel like I have really kind of perfected the art of this in my own life over the last few years, trying to balance a full-time job where I'm working 50 hours a week, plus raising my children, having a husband with a crazy job, a crazy schedule, and trying to build a business in the nooks and crannies of my day. And I absolutely love helping other busy moms organize their day, from their morning routines, their night routines, just to their overall weekly outlook and how they're going to fit it all in. Where are we going to put all those different pieces when it feels really overwhelming? I like to help figure out the best way to fit in everything that is essential, get rid of the fluff, and make more time for what is most important in each mom's life. If you would like any help with these things and want to work with me, please head over to worklifeglue.com/coaching and you can learn more about how you can set up a strategy session with me. Let's get your life figured out before the new year. Okay, thing number 3 you should be doing before the Christmas season starts to have a more stress-free Christmas season, and that is to get your traditions arranged. Traditions and rituals are what make the Christmas season. They are the most important, the most beautiful part of it, the things that your kids are going to look back on. So let's get some of those figured out ahead of time. Now, I love to share what we do because we don't, I feel like what we do is a little bit unique. It's not what everybody else is doing, but, maybe you are too. But I just thought I would share what we do because a lot of you guys listening are Christian and might want some new things to try out with your family. I will say the most simplest things you can do are the best. For me personally, we don't do elf on a shelf. One, because I just don't really like, that it's teaching I don't like the focus to be on Santa. We do Santa in our house, but I don't like that to be the focus. Absolutely no judgment. If you do elf on the shelf and love it, no judgment here. Like I said, you do you. But what we do instead is called Star from Afar. And I really love this because it's a very similar concept, but it's a lot less work and it's keeping the focus on Christ. So basically it comes with a wooden star, a wooden nativity, and the 3 wise men. And every night you move the star to somewhere else in your home. And in the morning, the kids get up and look for it, just like on the elf on the shelf. And then they move the wise men to the star. And then on the last day of Christmas, the star is at the nativity scene and It's showing that they come and visit Jesus. Obviously, they don't actually visit him on Christmas Day. It's much later, but you can talk about the story, and it comes with a little book. And I just think it's a really great way to every day be focusing on the story of Jesus and his birth. So I really, really love that. And I like it because I don't have to do, some people get really into the Elf on the Shelf and the different shenanigans, which I think is fun. As a kid, I would love doing that. As a mom, I just don't want to add anything else to my plate. And what if I forget? And what if my kids see me? Blah, blah, blah. So I just really like this because it's quick and easy. I just set a little reminder in my phone to go off at like 8 o'clock to move it. And my kids know I'm moving it. So it also means I don't have to do any lying to my kids or tricking them, depending on how you look at it. Another tradition is just the little people nativity. I know a lot of you guys do this. I just love getting that out. My kids love playing with it. I just think it's a really accessible way to talk about the nativity story and have your kids act it out and get to know the different people in Jesus's birth story, and just really get them involved and get their little minds turning at such a young age. I absolutely love that. We also do the Christmas tree countdown, it's a wooden Christmas tree, but it's magnetic and it has 25 different ornaments. And every morning, you put a new one on, and it's helping the kids see visually how many more days until Christmas, because we all know, especially with little kids, when they don't understand calendars and time, when is it Christmas? Is it tomorrow? And then we can say, well, let's count how many ornaments we have left. That's how many days. And it's just a really great thing. And our girls take turns putting them up. Really fun, affordable way to have a countdown. And then my last one, I'm actually going to jump right into what earned the Mama Seal approval right now, because there's a really, really cool product I wanted to share with you guys. I'm not affiliated with in any way, not sponsored. I just learned about a few months ago and picked one up for ourselves using our own money. It's called the 25 Days of Christ by New Tradition Crafts. And I actually heard a podcast episode from the mom who created this. And I also love that it's supporting another small business, another family. And she created these 25 different beautiful wooden ornaments. You can buy them unfinished and finish them yourself, or just use them in the raw version, or you can get them already finished and they're like painted and really beautifully handcrafted and just gorgeous. And you can even buy little bags to put them in every day. And what we plan to do is get a little Christmas tree to put in our dining room, either in the window, we have a big bay window, or next to our fireplace. So a second little tree, and you don't have to do this. You could just put them on your actual tree. But I wanted a second little tree, and every morning we will open a new ornament and hang it on the tree. And they're all 25, correspond with Jesus in some way. And you can also buy a book, which we also bought, that kind of walks the children through what that ornament is about and the whole story. So it really reminds me of the resurrection eggs, if you have heard of those for Easter, where, there's a new symbol every day of the Easter story. This is the same idea applied to Christmas and in ornament form. So I really, really love this. I would highly recommend it. I cannot wait to do it this year. So the big thing is you have to have it in advance. So hopefully it's still for sale, and hopefully you could get it in time. But if not, order it this year, get it, and then just pick up wherever you left off, do a few in one day, and then keep going, and then keep it for next year. It's best to get them while you're thinking of it and not wait until, next year to try to remember and then you forget. So I would highly, highly recommend that. It definitely earns the Mama Seal of approval, and I will have links to that in the show notes. Okay, so getting your traditions arranged is really important. Now, my final tip for having the stress-free Christmas, not only this year, but next year, is to get your finances and budget in order for your 2021 Christmas. Yes, I just said get your Christmas budget ready for next year. I know some of you listening are probably saying, I don't even know how we're paying for this year. I know with the pandemic, everything was crazy this year. We actually, because of me quitting my daycare job and everything, we ended up this year using October had an extra paycheck for my husband and I, and so we used that money for Christmas. So that's one way to do it. You could look at your budget for next year and say, okay, this particular month has 5 paychecks, so I'm going to save one of those paychecks for Christmas. Or you can just save monthly in a sinking fund for Christmas. Both really work well. And what I do to plan for Christmas, I have an Excel spreadsheet that just breaks down every single person and how much we're going to spend in every different category, and then adds it all up and divides by 12. And that's how much we should be saving per month. Now, some of you, I'm sure, are very good about budgeting, and some of you maybe not so much. So I'm just going to kind of break it down for the people who don't budget so well for Christmas and things like that, or just starting out or want some tips. These are the different categories that we budget for. So we have our spouse, so me and my husband, and we personally budget $100 per person for that. Our children, we budget $200 per child, which may be a lot to some, maybe not very much to others. And that includes the shared gifts. So I just divide however much the shared gift costs by 3 and just put that in each child's, how much we're spending for each of them. For our parents, we, typically spend, depending on the year and how money is, either $50 per parent or $100 per parent. And we do the same for siblings, which we only have one sibling to buy for because I have a brother and my husband is an only child. And then extended family. For the kids, like cousins in our life and stuff that people buy for, every family is different. We spend $20 per child. I can usually find like a pretty good gift for each child for $20, and they're getting from a lot of different people. So I think that's a pretty good limit. And then friends, some friends give gifts, some don't. I think whatever floats your boat is totally great, but I do have some friends that we all buy for each other, so I budget for that. And every year I just kind of play with that with whatever money we have left for in the budget. If you buy for coworkers or bosses or do like a Secret Santa at work or anything like that, you want to make sure you budget for that. Decor, I always try to budget at least like $100 for any new decor I might want. Like that new Christmas tree I want to buy for the tradition. That 25 Days of Christ would fall under this. If you need new lights for outside or for your Christmas tree, or, want to shop sales after Christmas, that would all come from the decor budget in your Christmas budget. Christmas cards, we budget $100. I actually just ordered the Christmas cards today in October. Feels so good to get it done. I personally buy from Vistaprint, also not sponsored, but they always have really great sales. I got like 50% off or something like that. I got $150 worth of cards, which are also already very affordably priced for just $75. So I love Vistaprint. They've come a long way over the years in their designs, but I love them. I just get the best deals every year. And I love that you can like upload your photo and they will show all the cards with your photo in it. It's just great. And then make sure you're also budgeting for stockings and how much you're going to spend on those. We're spending $200 total on all 5 stockings. So I will buy for my husband's stocking. He will buy for mine. We'll try to throw in a little trinket or 2 that our girls picked out for each of us. And then our 3 girls, we may spend less than that, but that's our max. And then any gifts from your children to people like your teachers in your life, daycare providers, piano teachers, stuff like that, you want to make sure you're budgeting for, and so on and so forth. Maybe you have extra things like Christmas cookies and stuff like that. I don't budget for that because baking supplies are really cheap, but if you do like a huge baking day and it costs like $100 for everything, make sure you're budgeting for that. So I just, list all that out. We list a dollar amount next to it for each category, and then I add all that up and divide it by 12, and that would get me what we need to save each month next year to be ready for Christmas. And when you break it down and divide it by 12, it's so much more manageable than trying to do it all in one lump sum. And just please don't wait till the end of the year. I know, things happen. It's been a crazy year, but adjust your budget. Don't stop saving. Just adjust your budget at the end if you end up not having enough. Don't wait until the last minute to have the huge lump sum. So those are the 4 things I like to always do to make sure I have a stress-free Christmas season. So I said earlier in this episode, I would share what I love about Amazon wishlist. So I saved those for my mama survival tip. I love Amazon wishlist. I think they are the most amazing thing when it comes to gift giving for anyone in your life. We have been using them for years, and it's just a great tool because pretty much everything is on Amazon. And if it's not, you can link to it on Amazon. So your whole wish list is all in one spot. So what we do is my husband has his own wish list. I have my own wish list. I even keep like a private wish list for things like books that I want to buy for myself, but it's where I keep track of a list of books that I want to buy. It's just, I save them on Amazon in my book wish list, different clothing things, different things for our house. When I did daycare, I had a whole list of things I wanted to buy for the daycare. So you can keep, private lists for yourself, but we always have one public list that we share with each other and our family. They like to have something to know what we might want for Christmas. And then our girls each have their own public wish list. So I have one for Gwen, I have one for Celia, I have one for Bryony, where all year I just add to it. So maybe I see a book at somebody's house and I say, oh, my daughter would really love that. I look for it on Amazon and I save it in their wish list. When I see a toy that I think they might like, I save it to their wish list. If there's clothing items I see, I save it to their wish list. What's great is even if it's not on Amazon, if you get the Amazon Assistant extension for your browser, you can save pretty much anything on a wish list on Amazon, and it will just take you away from Amazon when you click on it. So for example, we've been buying a lot of stuff on Etsy, so I've been just saving different wooden toys and stuff like that and craft kits on my Amazon wish list for Etsy. So it shows up on their Amazon wish list. People can click it and it just takes them over to the listing on Etsy. So it's organizing it all in one place, which is super helpful. So what I do is when the season of Christmas is coming up or if their birthdays are coming up, I have a private wish list for each girl as well. So I have like one for Christmas for Gwen, one for Christmas for Bryony, one for Christmas for Celia, and those are private. So I give family members the public one and I keep the private one private for us. And so I will go into their public wish list, let's say for Celia, and I'm looking for, the different categories for what to buy her for Christmas. And let's say I see something on there I want to give her for Christmas, I will just move it from her public wish list to the private one so that nobody in our family is buying her the same thing we are. And that way I can also have all the gifts organized into one simple list. And when it comes time to buy, I just add them all to cart really easily and buy them. And it's super simple and helpful. And it's so easy and it's easy to set up, easy to share with people. Most people know how to shop on Amazon and use Amazon. So I can just give that list. My mom always buys off their list, which is nice because then I know what they're getting is not like a bunch of junk that I don't want them to have. I think we've all been there. And I don't want to say junk. It's all appreciated, but we all know there's been multiples of gifts given and you don't know what to do with them, or gifts that you just would never dream of giving your children that somebody bought for them. And had they had a list, they might have, been steered in another direction. And so I just really love to give that out if somebody asks. I don't like walk around shoving it in people's faces, but my mom already just has it saved on her Amazon account so she can just look and buy. And it's just really, really great and simple and makes my life as a mom so much easier. So that is my mama survival tip for the Christmas season when it comes to giving gifts to your children. I hope you guys enjoyed talking about Christmas before the Christmas season. I know if you're like in Canada, you already had Thanksgiving a long time ago and you're probably already in your Christmas season. So this isn't totally weird to be talking about, but I know for us in the United States, we're still trying to focus on Thanksgiving, which I think is good, but I think it's even easier to focus on it if you're not overwhelmed by Christmas already. So I hope these tips were helpful. I would absolutely love to keep this conversation going by having you go to the Work Life Glue Moms Facebook group, join if you haven't already, and look for this podcast episode in the posts and comment there. I love learning what you guys do. You guys teach us all so much as well. We can learn so much from each other. You guys have so many great tips and tricks as well. So I'd love for you to share what you do to have a stress-free Christmas. Maybe you have some gift ideas or different tips that you do. I would love for you to share them over on Facebook. So that link is in the show notes. Also, if you have been listening for a few episodes and you like this podcast, I would just urge you to leave a review because it makes it so that more busy working moms can find this podcast and we can be a bigger community, which means not just great things for me for growing this podcast, but it means I'll have more moms to interview, more women to learn from, and just more people to spread this message of positivity that our world really needs right now. So if you could please just take a minute out of your day and leave a review on Apple Podcasts for this podcast, I would greatly appreciate it so much. I hope this episode helped you prepare for the Christmas season and you can start to kind of wind down for the rest of the year and just really focus on your family, your faith, the people that mean the most to you, and just look back on this year and, look at it as it was. Be happy for the things that, did go your way and just let go of the rest because we all know this was a really hard year. But I hope you can just move into the Christmas season with some peace and a little less stress on your plate. So go get something done, go live on your kids, and go live your dreams. I'll talk to you next time. I'll talk to you next time. I'll talk to you next time. I'll talk to you next time.